What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Trading Learning 101. Today's video we're going to do technical analysis, and I'm going to show you guys one of my favorite trading setups. You can either call it the ABC pattern or the ABCD pattern. Let's jump into it. Okay, so here we got PXS, the ticker. And this was all going around at the beginning of November. And if you remember, at the beginning of November, all these shippers started to heat up. Dries, Tops, DCIX, GLBS. And when all those started to heat up, those shippers, PXS started to follow in sympathy, and most days was leading the pack. You could see right here, right at the morning bell here, we had a spike up. Well, we had action pre-market. Right when the market opened, this thing got tighter and tighter and tighter. As you seen, it formed a great triangle right here, making higher lows and lower highs. And then it spikes from this 210 area up to a high of almost $3. And this whole time right here, it's consolidating, pulling back, slowly making higher lows and lower highs. Now, this pattern happens all the time. Usually on the biggest percentage gainer of the day, this pattern could fail, this pattern could, work, and it could break out. Does it work 100% of the time? No. That's all patterns though. Patterns don't always work. But more times than none, this pattern does work. And I've learned this pattern from Tandem Trader and watching the Tandem Trader DVD. This is one of the patterns that's in that DVD. And all it really simply is you get this morning spike right here. And a lot of people think just because you missed out on this spike that it's over. It's not. What you want to see with this pattern is a nice pullback after this spike and then consolidate the rest of the day, leading all the way up until the close, the last hour and a half, hour until the market close. Consolidating, forming a tight pattern. And then the last hour of the day, which is what we call power hour, for this thing to just explode to the upside. Or if you're a shorter, you want it to break the pattern and explode to the downside. I recorded the whole action on this. The total length of this whole movie clip was just over an hour long. So it just goes to show you that these patterns don't happen immediately. They take time to set up, and that's where patience pays comes to play here. You let it pull back, you let it consolidate, let the chart tell you what it's doing. Clearly, this is consolidating, and it's starting to grind its way back on up to this resistance line. You've seen it touched almost $3 up here. We had a sell-off right here to 250, and then a nice bounce up to 290. Just showed it couldn't touch the previous high right here, the day high, and then it comes right back down to the 250 level. Another bounce up, comes down, and this is where it starts to form the higher lows on it. And this is looking at it on the 3-minute time frame. I love doing technical analysis on the level 2, reading the tape, and I also love reading the volume bars. You could see right here, you got declining volume right here. At the beginning of the day, you had selling right here, and then you just seen the buying and the selling just slowly declining, and then you get this, look at this ramp up in buying, and then you get massive selling right here. And then as this whole pattern's forming right here, look at the volume. Declining volume here, and then you got buying volume right here. And then all through lunch hours, you just see it's just slowly declining, and then now it's starting to U-shape back on up. What have I said in my other videos? These stocks love to form triangles and U-shapes. And on volume analysis, I always want to look for patterns. I want to see buying patterns, selling patterns, U-shapes. I call this the ABC pattern. Just to simplify it, A is the spike up, B is the pullback, and C is the grind up all the way up to the resistance line and the breakout. Or you could have it be A be the spike, B be the pullback and consolidate, C be the grind up, and D be the breakout. A lot of traders have this play in their playbook. After you learn this play, you'll see it happen all the time. But remember, it doesn't always work. That's all patterns in the market. They're not all perfect. They all have their percentages of when they work and when they don't. And you could be in a time in a market where they don't work at all. That's why it's always good to learn multiple patterns and have a huge playbook. Always be looking to add chart patterns and trading strategies to your playbook. And then I switch it to the 5-minute time frame here. Add a resistance trend line to it and a support right there at 250. Rewind it 20 seconds so you guys can see what happens here on the bid, the ask, and the times and sales. Just look at all that buying start to come into it right there. And if you look at the volume bars, you could see you got a green buy here, up a slightly bigger green bar here, and now I would be looking for this green bar to outgrow these two. And the selling, you can see how the selling is also declining, going down. And that's why it's not good to chase. This spiked up to a high of 290 and it pulled back down to 275. And then even there's a couple strategies to this. After this spike, you got this pullback to this mental area 250 and it bounced up to 285 and then pulls back down and it bounced pretty much perfectly again at this 250 level, confirming that this is support. That could have been a great entry right there to grind it and ride it up right there to that 290 level. That's 40 cents right there. Always analyzing and looking for opportunities, learning from them, and then in the future keeping an eye out for it again. Studying what happens, recording the market, and analyzing the level 2 and the sales and the volume when the price comes down to these levels, and see how it reacts with the bid and the ask and the sales and the volume. If there's any news, the float of the stock, the volume on the day, how much is it up on the day. Analyzing all this stuff and putting it together. And you can see that was a fail because we got this big green or red sell right here. We got this sell candle because everybody who bought on the way up right here, on the bounce right here, the bounce right here, they're all getting out and taking their profit right here. Or some of them at least. And that's another thing to keep in mind. How many people are still holding on to this stock? You got people who chase it up here and buy in at 290, and it pulls all the way back down and it's starting to grind back up. They're still holding on, hoping for this to get back up to this level to sell and get out so they can wash their hands and just be done with it. And now I'm just fast forwarding 30 seconds at a time. Again, it had established another higher low at 270s. When you have something like this happening right now, this is what you really should be focusing on. This is how I analyze the market and trade. I'm not studying and looking at 10, 15, 20 stocks doing technical analysis. Every day I'm studying and just putting all my focus on one stock that interests me the most. And I'm just watching it, seeing how it reacts to buying, to selling, seeing how it moves. All these stocks have their own personality. They all like to move their own different way. Some like to have huge rips. Some like to sell off hard. Others like to grind. That's what's fascinating about the stock market. There's just so much to analyze and take in, but you always start to see a pattern. So this real quick, this is GLBS right here. This is what kind of got PXS starting to move. Was they came out with news that they had Q3 basic earnings per share of 8 cents. And you could see after hours there, it went from $8 to a high of $11.50. Today, it just slowly sold off and puttered off. And here's the chart on GLBS zoomed out. From the 625 area up to a high of 1150. You see it's just inching and getting closer and closer and closer and closer up to this resistance line. Slap a trend line on that bad boy and just watch it. You slowly start to see buying coming in, and then this is when the action picks up, and here it goes. A whole wave of buying volume just eating up the ask, and it pops over that resistance. Now it's coming up to the day high right here at 295. And again, look at the volume bars right here. You got this U shape right here. And also, I just want to point out real quick, look at the volume bars. You see how it starts to trend up right here, all right here, right here, right here, right here, and right here. Now I'd be looking for this volume bar to be the tallest. We did see selling increase though. And you could clearly see the 3 red volume bars at the bottom there. Right here, right here, and right here. Well, let's get back to it. Shoots up to 3, pops over 3, new high on the day. It's really kind of struggling at that $3 level. Really struggling at that $3 level. And when a stock struggles at a level like this, that's when you'll see buyers start to give up and say, we can't get through this $3 level. I'm out. And you'll just start to see everybody dump their shares. But this thing sure is trying. The buyers are really trying right now to get this up and above $3. You can see we're at just over a 250,000 in volume on that 3-minute candle. But even with that long wick right there, that's telling me prices are getting rejected higher. Still hanging around this $3 area. Buying still consistently coming in. The buyers have not given up yet. We're at 7.1 million in volumes on the day. Really struggling in this $3 area. So that should be an indicator going off that, hey, this doesn't have strength. There's something holding this back. Even with all the continued buying that's going in on this, something doesn't want this to go up. But the buying and buying and buying just doesn't give up. And buyers just kept buying and buying and buying and buying. And this isn't going to be really a clean breakout. This was more of a extended breakout, I would say. And then we get a wave of selling right here. Another wave of buying. And this is when it starts to move up. See, I'm not seeing the explosiveness with this breakout here. But the pattern is breaking out. A lot of these chart patterns and these breakouts, some of them ain't gonna happen immediately. Some of them take time. Big wave of buying coming in. Look at that, 53,000 buyer right there. See, if the buying just continues to keep coming into this and coming into this, even though this is showing weakness, that it's not having any big powerful moves up and it's just slowly grinding up. If more buying and buying and buying and buying just keeps coming into this, it'll just slowly but surely grind up, and this is what it's doing. And when something's grinding up like this, I have to tell myself, don't get greedy with this, or if I don't like the action, either I don't play it or I lock in my profit. I don't want to be in this and hold on to it, because once that buying leaves, that's when the bid could get the rug pulled from underneath of it and this thing could drop hard. All that consistent buying, then everybody wants to sell. And that's when you could see it drop from the last 30 minutes of the day, from $3 to $1.50. All that steady buying and everybody wants out. And this is on the 1 minute time frame right here. To me, this buying volume and just these volume bars is very choppy to me. I don't like this. This isn't the greatest stock for this pattern, but the pattern still broke out. I think at the end of the day, PXS made a high of $3.20. And then after that, it just slowly faded off the rest of the day. See, look at now, everybody's just dumping it and selling it. And it went from this 315 area all the way back down to this $3 area. That's why you can't get greedy with these. It's not your profit until you lock it in. Falls to 3. This mental area, will this mental area hold up? Looks like the buyers are trying. They're trying to hold it at this $3 area. And it shoots up to 305. And you got a 70,000 buyer right there at 305. But just because it says there's 70,000 there, you got to remember, these traders can manipulate the bid and the ask. So this could be a short right here, trying to trick buyers into thinking there's a huge buyer there. But then when the price gets down to this 305 level, he'll pull it off the bid and smash the bid to short it. There's games these people like to play on the level too. That's why I always say, if something big right there pops up, I want to see it confirmed on the sales here. And here goes PXS rallying up from that mental area of $3 to a high of up to 320. 320 pop right there. See, look at all this buying right here on the 3-minute candles with hardly really any selling really. So all this buying is going to accumulate and accumulate and accumulate. And that's when you can see big sell-offs happen. And this is the last minute of the video right here. After this, it just went downhill. 320 was really the high for it for the day. But this is an example of the ABC or the ABCD pattern. You could call it either or. This is a pattern that I have in my playbook, and I see it happen all the time. You get this great morning spike right here, and then the pullback, and then all through lunch hours leading up to power hour, you just see it consolidate. And at the last hour of the day, hour and a half of the day, you'll get an explosive, powerful move for it to make a new high on the day. And that's a perfect example of PXS right here. This is why it's important to record the market whenever you're in the market. And then on the weekends, just go and study the film like the football players do, the NFL players. What do? They study their opponent leading up to game day. On the weekends, study these plays, see how the market's performing. What are these stocks telling you? Do technical analysis, put it all together. So just see the games people are playing on the bid and the ask. Analyze the level 2, the times and sales, the volume, putting it all together and seeing what the story is that this stock is trying to tell you. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe and like button and join the Trading Learning 101 community. I post videos often. Until next time, everyone, have that patience, have that discipline, and study, study, study. All right, later, everyone.